Good evening and welcome to the highlights of the first day's play of the test match between Australia and New Zealand at the MCG. This is the third test in the series. Australia won up and the one in Adelaide was drawn. Just a 3 test match series rather than 5. Conditions at the MCG on Boxing Day, absolutely perfect. A temperature of around about 25 degrees. The pitch looked good. Tony Greig reported it looked as though it might have a ton of runs in it, and the outfield very fast indeed. Surprises in the selections of the teams. The Australians made Tim May 12th man. They had to go in with a bowling attack of Michael Whitney, Craig McDermott, Tony Dodemaide, Peter Sleep and Steve Waugh. And that's Whitney and Dodemaide, newcomers to the side, because Reid and Hughes failed fitness tests, and problems there for Alan Border. The New Zealand side, Evan Gray is the 12th man, and they have a very strong lineup. They've gone in with 5 bowlers. Ewan Chatfield comes back into the side, and they have Chatfield, Morrison and Hadley as their pacemen, and John Bracewell and Deepak Patel as the spinners. And Philip Horn is going in first with John Wright. Philip Horn is playing in his 3rd test match. Australian captain Alan Border won the toss, put New Zealand into bat. We pick it up with 3 runs on the board. John Wright is taking strike. Michael Whitney is the bowler, and your commentators Bill Laurie and Tony Greig.
Well bowled, but he's got that one through the gap. Jones is after it. It's quick down in that area, and good to see the outfield responding well. That one raced away over that surface. It is the quick area of the ground, but that's gone down to the boundary without any problems at all.
Right, first forward and then back. Opened the face and ran it through the gully. He's a little bit troubled by Whitney just on the off stump.
Craig McDermott from the outer end. And he's got him. Big appeal there, and a lot of pressure under umpire French. The Australians really thought they had a wicket there. Have a look at the face of McDermott. He is absolute. He cannot believe it. Well, a lot of pressure there for umpire French. Watch this appeal.
The shout was to catch it. Well, judge for yourself. Short leg cannot believe that. Wright looks up anxiously. Short leg takes the catch. The letter.
Let's have a look at it again. See if you can pick up a little bit of deflection here. Just watch this. Little edge. Up she goes, and everyone is up with him. I think a little sigh of relief would have gone through Wright there, who I thought nicked that one. Certainly looking down the pitch, there seemed to be a little bit of a deflection.
So he's still there at the moment. He's facing Michael Whitney.
Well, that one's gone flying away over the top of gullies, down to the boundary, no doubt about that. That went right off the meat of the bat. Whitney a little frustrated, but the truth of the matter is if the ball's short and you hit through it in that area, there's always a chance it'll go to the boundary.
2 left-handed opening batsmen out there, making a solid start for New Zealand. Philip Horn on strike. Wasn't a convincing shot from Philip Horn, jamming down on the Yorker, but it gets him his first boundary.
Seen 3 boundaries this morning, all of them been in the area down a 3rd man. Warner opting for an attacking field there. Catches. Certainly no one down at 3rd man. After putting the opposition in, one would expect that.
Tony Dodemaide is the bowler.
No need to wait for that. What a great moment for Tony Dodemaide. Wonderful moment for him. His first wicket in Test match cricket. A good delivery too. He'll remember that for the rest of his life. Philip Horn, the man out. Greg Dyer assisting, and triumph for Tony Dodemaide.
Yes, this is good bowling by Dodemaide. This ball relatively wide, but well pitched up and fired in there with a little bit of extra pace. Got the batsman forward, and a big nick on that one. His first Test match wicket. And have a look at his face. Hawthorn out for 7. New Zealand now 1 for 32.
Andrew Jones, who played so magnificently in Adelaide for New Zealand, coming out at the fall of the first wicket. McDermott now to bowl to John Wright. 3 slips in the gully, short backward square, and a short forward square. It's beaten cover. It's a long chase out to the boundary. No chance of cutting that off. This outfield is in good shape and is quite quick today.
1 for 41, New Zealand. John Wright is on 28. Philip Horn was out for 7. Tony Dodemade's first wicket in Test cricket. And Andrew Jones is on 2. No one at third man. Sometimes the outfield here at the MCG is a bit slow on the first day. They quite often pour a lot of water into it, but that's not the case today.
Runs fairly plentiful for Wright. Area down to third man. Up several boundaries in that area. The ground does look a picture today. Very good nick.
Michael Whitney to continue from the outer or southern end. Brantley field hits the stumps at the out. Oh, Dyer knocks it away. Well, that was action aplenty. Magnificently fielded at backward square leg. Jones took off, threw at the stumps. Wicketkeeper Valletta was the fieldsman. The wicketkeeper Dyer comes in, tries to pick it up and deflects the ball.
Yes, this is a magnificent stop by Valletta. He's fielding in a position backward of square leg. And Jones, have a look at him, he plays that shot and away goes Valletta. He's on his way. Valletta's up and he lets the ball go. Now the question is, would it have hit the stumps had the wicketkeeper not tried to touch it? I think he was trying to paddle it back onto the direction of the stumps there. He heads off having hit the ball well, and now watch him try and stop. Really struggling there, and he comes round. He's definitely got rubbers on, and oh, he would have been out by miles. All the wicketkeeper had to do was come up on the other side of the stumps, and it would have been all over.
Dodemaide. It's nicely struck. Beautiful on drive. The outfield's quite fast. That's 4 runs. Beautifully played. New Zealand 1 for 74.
Just short. Well, that was a heavy edge, or a thick edge. Went to Boone, dropped short of him, and he ended up fielding it pretty well. So Border and Boone, no doubt, will nudge up a little bit further at slip. Have a look at this.
One of the problems with the Melbourne cricket ground is that the balls don't carry to slips. If you get too close and he slashes, you've got no hope.
1 for 88. John Wright's a single away from his half century. Andrew Jones 28.
Steve Waugh with the ball.
.50 runs for John Wright. He's played well today. He's beaten once or twice, but most times he's been in charge.
Very hard-nosed cricketer. Loves playing the game, loves batting. Enjoying playing in front of a big crowd here at the MCG. Scored 100 before against Australia. His way back in '81. Really loved to do it here in the MCG.
That's a good shot, and it'll race over that practice pitch area. Beautifully kept down by John Wright. 1 for 96, New Zealand.
McDermott. Oh, it's in the air and just over the top of Border's head. Well, I'd be surprised if he actually got a finger on that, or did he? But judging by the way he just flicked his hand there, it looked as if it may have just tipped his fingers. But he certainly went up in the air.
Andrew Jones, I think, changed his mind a little bit there. He was going to play the back foot cover drive, and then at the last minute I reckon he was going to try and square cut it, and it was sort of half and half in the end. He got the edge and it just cleared Alan Border's head. May have just tipped, got a fingertip to it, but it's not a catch or not a chance when you only get a fingertip to it, in my opinion, when you jump up to that height.
Stephen Waugh again. Well, that's a good shot. Beautifully played, straight down the ground, and while Whitney's running after it, he's really never going to get there to cut it off. The outfield lovely and quick, and that's a classical straight drive. So 1 for 119, McDermott. Down the leg side, and he's got him. That's brilliantly taken. The batsman actually is looking towards the wicketkeeper. The square leg umpire's giving him a yes, he's out. What a great catch that was by Dyer. The ball flew away on the leg side at high speed. He caught it almost in the end of his fingertips. A little delay was because umpire Crafter down at the members' end went across to have a talk to the square leg umpire, umpire French. He must have given him a little nod, and as a result of that, up went the umpire's finger.
Jones just getting too far across with the pads. Gave the keeper a good look at it, and that was the reason for the hesitation by umpire Crafter. There was a little bobble there, but Greg Dyer quite happy that he'd caught it. Tony Crafter, just to make sure, went and spoke to Dick French. Dick French gave him a nod. Andrew Jones is on his way. New Zealand 2 for 119.
I want you to really watch this ball and watch when the wicketkeeper goes down. See if you can see the ball on the grass. Here it comes now. The keeper goes across. Well, in my opinion, there is absolutely no doubt that that ball has hit the ground, and wicketkeeper Dyer has claimed a catch, which doesn't look to me as if it was one.
Tumbling catch by Dyer. Remove Jones. Brings Martin Crowe to the wicket. Sweep.
That's better placed by Martin Crowe. Before tea, he picked out the man in the deep at backward square leg with a pull shot. Not on this occasion.
Would have been a 6 in Adelaide. Plenty of batsmen has been caught pulling on the Melbourne cricket ground there mid-wicket. We see Crowe was back quickly. He does get back nicely. He uses the crease and whack-o, short leg ducks, and it goes right out there to the Foster sign. One bounce into the fence. A big hit by Martin Crowe. That's an indication he's going to punish anything that's not of good length.
Michael Whitney. And that beats McDermott at mid-off. A boundary to Martin Crowe.
He's the man for New Zealand. He's the straight player. He's been there now for some time. This time he brings out the big off drive as Whitney angles the ball across. He's on one knee and finds the gap nicely.
So the New Zealanders really getting a move on, and Dean Jones is getting plenty of chasing to do. And the 150 comes up for New Zealand. 10 runs so far in this over. Once again, Martin Crowe goes over mid-wicket, way over mid-wicket. And they really are getting a move on with things.
They certainly are, and I think it's worthwhile putting a man there, taking the sweeper away. And sweep does pitch short. Crowe likes to pull over the infield. He rocks right back. Doesn't try and hit the ball down at all. Goes straight out to mid-wicket. A big hit. Some 10 or 15 metres in from the boundary, it bounces.
Tony Dodemaide to continue from the members' end.
An outside edge, 4 runs. No one will know about it in the scorebook at the end of the day. Ball's not carrying to the slip fielders, who are back a long way there. No chance of that being picked up by the wicketkeeper. Dodemaide has been fairly tidy all the way through today, playing in his first test match.
Craig McDermott comes back into the attack from the members' end. John Wright on 99, the batsman on strike. He's out. He's caught behind for 99. John Wright going to drive the half volley, gets the edge. Dyer does the rest, so John Wright doesn't become the first New Zealander to make 100. He's out for the dreaded 99. He went for the wide ball, thick edge. The catch was taken, so John Wright departs for 99. The score 187, the Devils number, 3 for 187.
Well, a very disappointed John Wright, wandering off the ground. That ball was wide. He'd put himself under pressure, as Bill Laurie had pointed out. And then eventually he had to go after that wideish ball. And that's a pretty sick Kiwi walking off this ground. He's worked very hard for his runs. But unfortunately, 99, and it's all over.
Martin Crowe 45, Jeff Crowe 4. New Zealand 3 for 202, averaging 2.65 runs per over. And a very docile Melbourne wicket. It's beautifully struck. Go down the hill and into the gutter. That's what is needed. The half volley's there, punch it away.
Yes, that was a lovely flowing drive. Feels really good when the ball comes onto the bat off a pitch which has been made in order that certainly during the first 3 days the ball would come onto the bat, and that certainly came onto the bat. And have a look how beautifully it runs across the outfield too. And the groundsman here really has done well with that outfield. And indeed this pitch has improved.
Full pitch, and that's through. They'll bring up 50 for Martin Crowe. He's certainly been the batsman of the series for New Zealand. With the best technique, possibly the best temperament, and all the shots.
Yes, this was a full toss, and Crowe doesn't often miss the opportunity to dispatch those for 4.
Oh, that's the shot of the match so far. Beautifully played cover drive, stood to attention, the full face of the bat. Glorious stuff.
I tell you what, here's the danger man, and War's going to have to do something a little different here. That was into the slot, and have a look at this for a cover drive. That is the best shot of the match by miles. Right into the gap, and he's very strong in that area.
McDermott, the bowler. Yes, I'm afraid he has to go. Craig McDermott has got one through Jeff Crowe. And it was always on the cards. He hasn't looked to be in the slightest touch out there today. In fact, he hasn't looked to be in touch throughout this tour. A ball of very, very full length. The replay may show differently, but it looked as though it was going to hit middle stump round about halfway up. Real scramble of pads and feet there.
Yes, he got the absolute mess. Jeff Crowe playing back to a ball he should have played forward to. It's 4 for 221.
Deepak Patel, this is the young man who's looked very competent in the innings he's played so far. Well, what a beautiful delivery. Now that is extremely good bowling from McDermott. He got right with some good bowling. He got Jeff Crowe, and he certainly has spread his pegs. Deepak Patel, not even a good technique, can keep out a superb Yorker like that.
Yes, he certainly rearranged the furniture on this occasion. Right in the right spot. Crashes into off stump. And Deepak Patel is out for naught. That's a pretty good one to cop before you've got off the mark. New Zealand 5 for 223.
New Zealand added another 19 runs to take them up to 5 for 242 at the close of play. A great innings from Martin Crowe, 76 for him and 99 for John Wright. But the showpiece was Martin Crowe's innings. He started slowly and then launched himself at the Australian attack, playing some blinding strokes, some of them off Steve Waugh, some off the other bowlers. It was a lovely performance from the talented right-hander. Bracewell is there with him on 4. Still to come, Hadley, Smith, Morrison and Chatfield, so there are runs to be made there to add to that total of 242. The bowling figures for Australia: an outstanding performance from Craig McDermott, 25 overs, 8 maidens, 4 for 54. Whitney, no wickets. Dodder made 1, his first in a test match. Waugh was harshly dealt with at the end by Martin Crowe. And Peter Sleep, 12 overs, 1 maiden, none for 31. And he bowled accurately enough. Got a little bit of spin and bounce out of the pitch, but it was mainly the pace bowlers who did the job for Alan Border today, particularly McDermott. And that's one of the reasons why the game went on an extra half hour, because the Australians didn't get through their overs in time. So Alan Border put New Zealand in today, and the New Zealanders have done pretty well. They've got a chance of getting well over 300 there, unless the Australians get stuck into them tomorrow morning. And that'll be something on which they can work in their bid to keep the Trans-Tasman Trophy. For the moment, it's good night. The second day of the Melbourne Test match. Welcome to the highlights, with New Zealand starting off the day at 5 for 242. A day of controversy yesterday, and also a day where Craig McDermott got the Australians back on course after it looked as though they might have been in trouble. This, the second day, started with hot northerly blowing at the MCG. Not as big a crowd as on the first day, but conditions were going to be arduous for the side in the field. We pick it up now in the third over. Whitney is bowling to John Bracewell, the left armer coming in from the southern or outer end. 4 runs have been added, and your commentators are Bill Laurie and Rod Marsh.
Yeah. Nicely timed. It'll race down the wicket area. And it'll be the first 4 of the morning. Always a delight for batsmen when the ball hits the cactus wicket area at the Melbourne Cricket Ground. It slopes away, and the ball continues to run. Warm summer's day at the Melbourne Cricket Ground. McDermott. Beautifully bowled, and he's gone at the back of the bat. A great catch for Weta. The man we pointed out takes the catch. A superb piece of bowling by Craig McDermott. His 5th wicket, and well deserved. Full pitch, just a little bit of movement. Looking to hit it on the onside. Crowe got maybe the back of the bat, and it flew like a rocket to Valletta, who took a gem of a catch.
Well, what a breakthrough for Australia. Martin Crowe trying to turn that ball on the leg side, off the stumps, playing across the line, turning the bat too early, getting a leading outside edge, and that's a very fine catch by Michael Valletta. In fact, his 13th first-class catch for the year. So there it is, the one that Australia really wanted. Martin Crowe out for 82, New Zealand 6 for 254.
Richard Hadley comes to the crease. Dismissal of Martin Crowe, and the final delivery from Craig McDermott. Picks up his 5th wicket. The first time an Australian bowler has done that on the Melbourne Cricket Ground against New Zealand, and a sharp catch by Valletta. The batsman looking to work that on the onside. Maybe got the leading edge. McDermott 5 for 61. Magnificent performance. Gone. Yes. Well, Bracewell doesn't think so, but the bowler and the fieldsman behind the stumps. But John Bracewell not happy with that decision, but he's out. Caught behind by Dyer, and John Bracewell cannot believe it. Umpire Finch said that's out, and it's 7 for 254.
John Bracewell, a very fine competitor, and obviously wasn't all that happy. I don't think the Australian fieldsmen were all that convinced about that, and that brings up Michael Whitney's first Test wicket in Australia, and New Zealand now slumped to 7 for 254.
Ian Smith comes to the wicket. Maybe John Bracewell brushed his pad when pushing forward to that delivery, because there's certainly a noise.
think there's much doubt that Bracewell thought he didn't hit it. Bat and pad very close together. And the Australians throw up their hands. John Bracewell throws up his head.
No need to chase that and just wander out and pick it up out of the gutter. It's a good stroke from Ian Smith. An eventful over from Craig McDermott, 7 for 268. Michael Whitney just preparing to come in from the southern or outer end. But there's no man at fly slip, 55 yards back behind the keeper.
I think Michael was just letting Richard know that he was a little bit displeased with the shot, but we now will hope he rock and rolls him very quickly.
Ian Smith's taking strike, facing McDermott. That's a fine shot.
Don't think he could have hit that much more in the middle.
7 for 280. Safely held by Tony Dodemaide. Whitney claims another wicket. Hadley is gone. Important for the Australians to get rid of him. Just starting to look dangerous. And New Zealand are 8 down.
Very nice piece of bowling. I think Richard in the end wasn't overly keen. I think there was a few words being spoken and a nice little bit of intimidation work maybe from Michael Whitney to pick up that wicket, but he always looked like he was going to get on with it, and he'd always be a chance to get out in that sort of fashion of mistiming a lofted drive, and hence that's the way he's gone, and Michael Whitney will be a very happy young man.
8 for 280. Danny Morrison is the new batsman. Michael Whitney has 2 and Craig McDermott 5 of the 8 to go down.
And that's beautifully placed and pretty well timed. Absolutely raced into the fence. So Ian Smith proving to be quite dangerous here in the late order.
The attitude of the Australians this morning has been to try and ruffle the feathers of the Kiwis a little bit, and they've tried to bowl them out. Seen the odd boundary come. Alan Borders decided to go for broke with the second new ball. I think that's a good philosophy too.
Oh, he's hit that in the air and he's gone straight to mid-on. Well, what a useful innings that was. It's come to an end now. Dean Jones taking the catch at mid-wicket. Michael Whitney, the bowler, and a pretty satisfied, although rather disappointed, Ian Smith leaves the ground, having made a really useful contribution.
Michael Whitney finishing with 4 wickets. Craig McDermott 5.
This is how it happened. Right on the toe of the bat, and that's why it didn't go over the top of mid-on's head. And Dean Jones making no mistake there.
Well, that was a very good effort from the Australians, and an excellent last wicket partnership there between Ian Smith and Ewan Chatfield. The final card, 317 for New Zealand. Could have been much better from their point of view, but then again, the way it looked at one stage yesterday, the Australians might have bowled them out for considerably fewer runs. 44 to Ian Smith, and Chatfield remained unbeaten on 6. The bowling figures for Australia, McDermott did very well, and so too Whitney today. He picked up 4 wickets, 4 for 92 in 33.3 from 6 maidens, and Craig McDermott 35 overs, 8 maidens, 5 for 97. The other 3, Dodemaide, War and Sleep, didn't bowl today. The Australians had just a few minutes batting before lunch. We pick it up now in the second over. Danny Morrison is bowling to Boone, and 3 runs are already on the board.
He's cut that one over the top, and it's going down towards the boundary, down at third man. There's no one fielding down there, so David Boone off to a good positive start here. That was short, bouncing outside off stump, and he got right into it.
I'm not sure whether David Boone didn't try to hit this one along the ground. He certainly got up on his toes. And in the end, just steered it.
That's a good delivery. Little outswinger. And Marsh will get his second boundary of the innings. A bit fortunate, that one.
Was a little bit fortunate. He's been very impressive, Danny Morrison, out here this summer. He's bowled that outswinger very consistently and caused the Australian batsman trouble quite a bit. It was beautifully pitched, moved a little bit late, and lucky enough for Geoff Marsh and Australia, went wide of that third slip position. Very well bowled.
Richard Hadlee. That's pretty close. Yes, umpire Crafter has a good long look and says, I'm sorry, David, you're on your way. So Richard Hadlee has struck the first Australian batsman out, David Boone.
There's that Richard Hadlee delivery again. If you don't hit, he'll hit. And that seemed very, very adjacent. Very adjacent. Richard Hadlee rather happy about it, and so are his teammates.
David Boone, LBW to Hadlee for 10. Quite a good crowd in here at the MCG again. Excellent crowd yesterday of 51,000. That's fairly close. Once again, Hadlee almost pleading for Dean Jones' wicket. He's a little disappointed it's been knocked back. In fact, I think he's hanging around to have a look at the replay on the scoreboard. He was certainly very late in moving the front leg. He only moved it after the ball hit. And quite a bit of reaction there from not only Richard Hadlee but Martin Crowe.
Oh, he's got him. Oh, bowled Richard Hadlee. That was an incredible delivery. One almost got the feeling that Marsh was frozen to the ground. He hardly moved. The ball seemed to find its way to the bat and then scoot away and was well taken at third slip.
Well, Hadlee believing one more over would yield some fruits. Certainly paid off there. A nasty delivery, cramped for room, nowhere to go. The ball hitting the bat very hard, opening up the splice, and the ball moving across. Well, what a great catch by Rutherford. Both Australian openers out now. Marsh for 13. Score 2 for 30.
Alan Border, Australia's most prolific scorer of runs in the history of Test cricket. And this is how Marsh fell.
Hadlee has revelled. That one hitting the bat very hard. Pretty good catch too, taken by Rutherford. So 2 Australian wickets down. Hadlee with the ball in the hand.
Oh, it's in the air. He's dropped him. Well, first ball, Border has dropped. Well, what can you say? You can drop anyone else in the world, but don't drop this guy. Whew, he certainly got himself in a tangle on that one. It seemed to rear up. Border fended it just outside off stump, and it went flying towards slip.
These great catches win matches, and what a good delivery to get first up. Well, Brace will in the wrong there. Certainly unsighted first slip. He was a long way across. He snatched out it one-handed, but it was the perfect delivery first up.
Oh, he's got him. He's out to behind. There's no doubt about that. That is a magnificent ball too. It hit the deck, moved away off the seam. It hit the outside edge of the bat, and boy, what a spell this is turning out to be. Richard Hadlee is bowling magnificently.
Well, Dean Jones roughed up in Adelaide. The previous delivery almost cut Dean Jones in half. A big off cutter taken way down the leg side. And watch this one. How late did that one swing? Almost 3/4 of the way down the wicket before it started to buckle away. And the light on the face of Smith, and Richard Hadlee, is he a happy man? So Dean Jones, the Australian #3 batsman, out for 4. Australia 3 wickets down for 31.
Valletta is the new batsman. Chatfield the bowler.
There's the second one. That's more like it. Says Alan Border. The crowd loving this fight back by the Australian captain.
Not sure that came off the middle of the bat, but it's still 4. This went between third slip and gully.
It's to be Danny Morrison to continue to border. It's a good shot. It'll be 4. Once it gets on the practice wickets, you can kiss it goodbye.
On Border, very strong cutter. You can't afford to bowl a width to him, particularly outside off stump. And he just hammers that away. And although Hadley did get a hand on it, it still got through quite easily for 4.
John Bracewell continues.
Shouts of catch it, and that's exactly what has been done by the mid-off fieldsman. The skipper, Geoffrey Crowe, taking the catch to get rid of his opposite number, and that was a nice piece of flight by John Bracewell.
Well, on Border, after having played so well against the spinners in Adelaide, advancing down the wicket, not getting to the pitch of the ball, hitting through it, and pretty comfortably caught by Jeff Crowe at mid-off. And Bracewell very disappointed when he got out this morning. I think that might make him feel just a fraction better. Australia slumped now to 4 for 78.
Australia 4 for 90. Good shot, beautiful shot. The pull shot played to perfection in front of square leg. The long boundary, they're through for 3. Stephen Waugh slips, and they get 4. Beautifully played. Well, that's a sign of confidence from young Mike Valletta.
Didn't seem to be a great swing of the bat there, but the timing was absolutely perfect.
Stephen Waugh in very good form. 170 in his last innings against Victoria up in Sydney. And just eased that one past mid-off. And this ground is really quick.
And that was a short arm jab, but timed equally as well as the first one.
A rare half volley from Richard Hadley. And you don't often see him get hit down the ground twice in a row for 4.
And he's gone. Well, now, Richard Hadley has shouted. Everyone has shouted out there. Valletta is extremely disappointed. Hadley is getting quite a bit of lift out there, and some movement off the seam as well.
Michael Valletta is extremely disappointed. Probably because he thinks he hit that delivery. Umpire Crafter didn't think he hit it. It was on line. And he's been adjudged out LBW to Hadley for 31. So Australia now in all sorts of trouble. 5 for 121.
Peter Sleep playing in his 10th Test match. Didn't have much to do with the ball. Mainly pace bowling to dispose of New Zealand for 317. He comes out now in a slightly dicey situation. 5 for 121 Australia.
Chatfield to continue. And he's hit that one right into the gap, and it's running down onto the hard area, the old practice wicket area. There's no way they'll stop him down there. Lovely shot from Stephen Waugh.
He's a very fine player of the cover drive off the back foot, Stephen Waugh, and that is an excellent example of the shot. Keeps the left elbow well up Once again, as you always find in a Stephen Waugh boundary, plenty of timing.
John Bracewell from the members' end.
And this time he goes again, but he beats him. That's 4. It's a glorious shot. Racing out to the long boundary. Crow in pursuit, but into the gutter it goes, and the crowd of 25,000 enjoyed that glorious cover drive. It'll be 50 for Stephen Waugh, 50 made under extreme pressure, intimidation from the great Hadley. And Stephen Waugh brings up another 50 in Test cricket, a well-earned one. The right time for his team in front of a big Melbourne crowd, and they appreciate the fight. A fine performance. 6 50s in Test matches. Well done, Stephen Waugh, and rightly so.
A very good innings from Stephen Waugh there to go through to 55 not out at the close. Peter Sleep also playing well on 16. That is a most valuable partnership. It's helped Australia along to that figure of 5 for 170 from 61 overs. The bowling figures for New Zealand dominated once again by Richard Hadley. 22 overs, 5 maidens, 4 for 62. It was a marvellous exhibition of pace bowling. He had one great spell there where it looked as though he would rip through the Australian innings. None for 37 Morrison, none for 42 Chatfield, and Bracewell 10 overs, 2 maidens, 1 for 25. The spinners haven't been used very much so far in this match. Peter Sleep bowled just 12 overs for Australia. Well, honours just about even at the moment in this game, but I suspect the fact that Australia have to bat last will go down as a minus mark so far as they're concerned as they look forward to the third day. But some intriguing cricket played here at the MCG today. We look forward to having you with us here tomorrow. For the moment, good night. The third day of the Australia-New Zealand Test match at the Melbourne Cricket Ground. Welcome to the highlights. It's a match New Zealand have to win if they're to retain the Trans-Tasman Trophy. They had a setback this morning because play was delayed for half an hour. Overnight rain had seeped through under the covers and had dampened an area just 2 pitches away from the one on which the match was being played. The umpires decided, with the agreement of the captains, that there would be a half-hour delay. Let's just recap on the scorecard, first of all, to let you know what has happened. 5 for 170, the 2 men in there for Australia at the moment, Stephen Waugh on 55 and Peter Sleep 16. And just to confirm the New Zealand bowling with Hadley and Bracewell, the men who've taken the wickets, 4 of those for Hadley, 4 for 62, and Bracewell 1 for 25. It was rather overcast and cloudy, although no rain had got onto the pitch when the umpires went out. And we pick it up now with the second ball of the day. Steve Waugh is taking strike. John Bracewell is the man coming in to bowl to him from the southern or outer end. And with me in the commentary box, Bill Laurie and Simon O'Donnell. And the first wicket goes down, beautifully bowled by Bracewell. Waugh is gone. That breakthrough was just what the New Zealanders wanted. Waugh pushing forward what looked like a little inside edge and onto the pad. And very, very well caught by the man at short leg.
We see the bat pad squeezed out there, and John Bracewell breaks through again, and that's a vital one for New Zealand. The very first over with the off spinner getting the ball just to turn slightly. Waugh didn't keep it down, and the man, he comes up at short leg and he goes down and catches it as clean as a whistle. That's a very important breakthrough. And good morning to Simon O'Donnell.
Good morning, Bill, and not a... Oh, I don't know if I should say a good morning. Stephen Waugh, second ball of the morning. Nice catch taken there, and a fair bit of disappointment on that face. I'm sure Stephen would have loved to have gone on to score that 100. Greg Dyer coming out, and let's hope for better things from Greg this morning. A good innings all the same from Stephen.
Danny Morrison. That's beautifully played. Dyer very quickly into position. They should comfortably get 4, with Chatfield having about a 90-metre throw. Excellent shot from Greg Dyer.
Dyer initially getting onto the front foot. then attempting to kill the bat pad. But that's a pretty good shot. And although it hasn't run to the boundary, the main reason probably is that we've had a bit of rain here overnight and then again this morning. It's a very nice shot by Greg Dyer.
Second new ball due. Ian Smith, the keeper. And another good one. Could be auditioning for an opera. He hangs in there. The tonsil's really wobbling for a long time. And then to get knocked back, how dare you say that? Sooner or later, though, I guess he's not going to die wondering. If you don't ask, you're never going to know.
That's beautifully driven, well fielded. Got him, he's got him! Boy, Jingos, if that had hit the stumps, it would have been close. He's gone. Run out. What a bit of work from Bracewell. He's done that once or twice today, and this time, I think Dyer's batting in rubbers. Couldn't get back, and that's a great breakthrough and a fine piece of cricket.
Well, he did slip, but Bracewell, he's been fired up. Been shouting for everything. Watch this. Beautiful feeling off his own bowling. Gathers it well, and Dyer unbalanced. Feet almost going from under him on the heels. And what a good effort. So straight back to Smith. Took the bails off. And Dyer, a fighting 21. Fine partnership too, shared with Peter Sleep. Australia now 7 down for 213.
Tony Dodemaide comes to the wicket. His first test match after a sensational bit of fielding by John Bracewell. Smash back, he comes down Dyer, 1.5 paces. Bracewell gets it and goes bang. Dyer slips and is out by the proverbial mile. 43-run partnership ends. Brilliant piece of fielding. Oh, we asked the question. John Bracewell will never die wondering, and a big shout. Umpire French shaking his head, saying outside the line.
Well forward, the pad, the first line of defence there. The bat tucked in behind it. And another big shout from Bracewell.
Sadly again, 3 slips and a deepish gully. Oh, and in the air, just wide of slip. Well, he seemed just a little bit slow in getting across to that one. It was always going to go in the air. It was one of those deliveries that was short outside off stump. Just wide of Martin Crowe.
Amazing how this cricket brings you undone. Tony and I just sat here during the break saying how Richard hadn't moved many away this morning, and he comes up first up and bowls a nice leg cutter to Peter Sleep.
This one's bang on target as well, and that's going to go down to the boundary. Well, slightly frustrated Hadley and indeed Martin Crowe standing in there at third slip. That one went down as well.
And some very happy Australians, and a smile from Peter Sleep as well. 2 to the same spot. A couple of smiles. The Aussies are starting to feel that little bit more comfortable out there now. Yeah, an educated guide, I would have thought.
Yes, he certainly opened the face up there. I can see now why he put that suntan cream on his nose. He's obviously intending to stay out there for a while yet. Sleep 3 short of his half century. Well, that's well played. A beautiful shot. Well, that'll bring up his 50. Sleep onto the back foot, playing the shot he loves most. Anything outside that off stump, he loves cutting away. He's settled for 3. And now he will acknowledge the applause for his 3rd half century. Well played, Peter Sleep.
Very well deserved 50 from Peter Sleep, and his 2nd in the series. A good knock in Adelaide, followed up by another good knock in Melbourne. He'll be very, very happy about that, and looking forward to going on with it on a wicket that he seems to be handling very, very well, and attack he seems to be handling very well at the moment.
Hadley comes in just short of a good length. He gets it, but once again, there's a gap, a big gap in that region. That will be the 3rd boundary. This 2nd new ball off a thick outside edge of the bowling of Hadley. They really don't cover too much ground, that cordon. They're very, very close together. Another important 4 runs. Not convincing, but on the scoreboard. Had him jumping. It didn't bounce all that much. Raced away on this very lush outfield for 4.
Now it's to be Danny Morrison. He'll be coming in from the southern end. Now, beautifully placed. Phil Horn, the fielder. 50 partnership up from 137 balls, and Australia 7 for 264. Now Dodemaide has to face John Bracewell.
That went short and nicely played away. It's going down towards square leg. That's the quick side of the ground. Slowing up just a little bit. There's been a fair bit of water on this outfield. So not quite as quick as it has been, but that's a good throw. Right over the top from about 180 yards away. It's also the end of the over. 7 for 275. Deepak Patel again. That's cut away into the gap on the offside. Nicely played. So 4 all run. And the Aussies out there in their Aussie colours, getting behind what has turned out to be a really good innings.
John Bracewell is going to come in from the southern or outer end.
And that's gone right through the man at mid-off, Ewan Chatfield. And that'll be a nice feeling for Peter Sleep as he gets near to his first Test century to get a bonus 4 like that.
Just imagine Jeff Crow giving a pep talk at the tea break that this would be the session that have to crash through, and the very first ball was the full pitch. He drove it straight to Ewan Chatfield, who would go through his legs for 4. The full points to Peter Sleep.
You see Hadley come from the northern or members end. Just 2 slips in a gully with Peter Sleep on strike. 90 to Peter Sleep. Goes 10 off his first Test century. That's a bit closer, and he's been given by umpire Tony Crafter. That one cutting back into the right-hander. It was certainly in line, whereas the previous LBW appeal was outside the line of off stump, and that's the 31st time that Richard Hadley has taken 5 wickets in a Test match, and the 12th time against Australia.
If you're going to make 90, your best score in Test cricket, you don't mind falling to a great bowl, but as far as Peter Sleep is concerned, that could have been a match-saving knock. It was a brilliant innings of concentration, 4 good partnerships, and a fine effort from this all-rounder who's had a wonderful summer with the bat. So Peter Sleep departs for 90. That's 8 for 293, and a magnificent ovation as he shuffles across the crease. The ball cuts back, and I don't think Peter Sleep would complain about that one, hitting middle and leg. Umpire Crafter had a good look, and the end of a fine innings. Sleep out for 90, 8 for 293.
Craig McDermott is the new batsman.
John Bracewell with 2 wickets and a run out to his credit. Ball to spin a lot. He's trying to put some pressure on Dodemaide with a silly point and a short leg.
Dodemaide certainly got the eyes spinning on that one. Probably the eyes of the bat padder as it disappeared over his head.
That's intelligent batting. He brings up the 300, but Dodemaide prepared in the last 1 or 2 overs to use his feet to the off-spinner. That time played the legitimate sweep shot. There wasn't anybody there. It was as safe as a church. And raced away for 4. Fine job, Dodemaide. He moves to 25. He's been there a long time. He was down. Off the middle of the bat, but raced away.
Richard Hadley.
Safe away over mid-on. Nicely timed by McDermott. Good cricket.
Yes, that was nonchalantly swatted away. Onto the front foot he went and flicked it over the top of mid-on, and it's really hurried away down towards the boundary down there. Yes, onto the front foot, little flick of the wrist, right off the meat of the bat. I think that gives you some idea of how powerful Craig McDermott is. And that's the situation. Tony Dodemaide has now got 27. McDermott's moved on to 8. Sleep back in the pavilion, having scored 90.
Well, that was an even better shot than the 4 runs it produced. He was beaten in the flight there by Bracewell, but adjusted very quickly and gave it everything and finished up a lovely stroke.
Yes, it certainly was. Quite wide too, so he had to come at it. Have a look at this. He used his feet, then reaches for it, and he hit that right in the meat of the bat. Richard Hadley.
Must be a chance. The throw was wide and high, more high than anything. Dodemaide was stranded. It was single there, but Dodemaide saying he didn't hear the call from Craig McDermott.
It's not a very good throw this either from Morrison, I think it was. He came moving around there, slipped, picked it up eventually, and let it go, but it was too strong. It went over the top of the wicketkeeper's head, and he displays his disgust at that. It certainly would have been close had the throw been good.
Good shot and an excellent piece of fielding down there to cut off the boundary. There's no doubt that would have gone for 4. Throws the fielder. And 8 for 317. Scores are level.
Dermot 28, Dodemaide 46. He's the man on strike to Deepak Patel, and with a chance of his first 50 in Test cricket. Oh, well, there you go. He should have been gone at 46. Patel could have had his first Test cricket. And once again, Ian Smith, there for days and days, gets a stumping chance and fumbles.
Dodemaide decided that he wanted to bring up his 50 by whacking this one down the ground. Just lifted his head, and Ian Smith did likewise, and not very happy with himself.
229 minutes. Tremendous exposure at the crease for Dodemaide, and McDermott has done his job fairly smartly. 5 boundaries in that score of 33 at the moment.
Oh, and that's a great Yorker. So Craig McDermott doesn't reach his highest score in Test cricket. In fact, Craig might have just moved out of his crease a little bit in facing Danny Morrison. Morrison may have picked that up. Someone may have told him, and he slipped the Yorker right through Craig McDermott.
In very confident style, Craig McDermott. He may have just upset himself a bit by moving his feet. Got it outside the batting crease. That one a beautiful in-swinging Yorker. And straight through the gate, into the timber, over go the bails. McDermott is out for 33. And 9 down now for 354.
Michael Whitney comes to the crease in the number 11 spot. Craig McDermott clean bowled by Danny Morrison, a very good Yorker from the young quickie. And that's the 9th Australian wicket to fall. Shouts of catch it, but they won't do that. Ewan Chatfield chases it around the boundary. 50 to Dodemaide.
A rousing reception from the home crowd here with Dodders. We've got it made. The young Victorian certainly has got it made. It's been a patient innings. Been there for almost 4 hours. He's played within his limitations. He's just waited. Played second fiddle there with Sleep, and now looking very good.
Edged, and Ian Smith has got it. Had to dive across there in front of the skipper, Geoffrey Crowe. I think the annoyance comes from the fact that he missed the stumping earlier on, but that was a good catch by the keeper, Ian Smith. And Danny Morrison gets a good reward, his second wicket of the innings. But Tony Dodemaide can be pleased with that effort. 50 to him on debut. So a nasty little moment for the New Zealand openers. They'll have to face one over.
Well, Ian Smith finally gets a grab, and what a beauty as well. But really, the Australian tail has wagged beautifully at one stage. 5 for 121. That was with the departure of Valletta. This is the 10th wicket to fall, the end of the innings for Australia. Looked a long way away, the 317 total of the New Zealanders.
So a very good batting performance from the Australians there to take a first innings lead after being in early trouble.
Well, I thought that was a marvellous effort by the Australian batsmen today. They were looking right down the barrel when Steve Waugh got out, and they fought their way out of it. It was a terrific thing to do after the euphoria of the World Cup. There was always the problem of translating one-day performances into cricket at test match level, and the Australians have done that in this series, and I just thought today was absolutely magnificent. The scorecard at the close of their innings, 357, Waugh out for 55, Sleep 90, that's his best innings, or the best I've seen him play. Dyer 21, Dodemaide 50. What a debut. A wicket, a catch, and now a half-century. A great performance from Tony Dodemaide. He's a good, wholehearted and courageous cricketer from the look of him. Craig McDermott, 33. Good effort from him. Mike Whitney didn't trouble the scorers, but he remained unbeaten. No telling what he might have done. Extras 19. Total 357 from 146 overs. And the bowling figures, Richard Hadlee, 5 wickets in an innings once again against Australia. Great performance. 44 overs, 11 maidens. 5 for 109. Danny Morrison, I was pleased to see him come back. He deserved 2 wickets there. He's a good cricketer, and he's going to be the man on whom New Zealand will rely in years to come when Hadley's not playing. Chatfield, none for 55, was struggling out there today. Bracewell, 2 for 69, bowled well most of the time, and Deepak Patel should have had a wicket when Dodemaide was missed that stumping by Ian Smith. Well, there was 1 over bowled by the Australians. Craig McDermott came in from the southern or outer stand end, bowled very fast to Philip Horn. No runs, so the lead remained at 40 for the Australians. What I believe must happen tomorrow is the New Zealanders have to go out and try and make 280. That'll mean they would set the Australians 240 on the last day. I think that's the only way they will retain the Trans-Tasman Trophy. They mustn't make too many runs, but something like 240 would be a challenging target for the Australian team on the last day. Good night. Hello, welcome to the highlights of the 4th day's play of this test match between Australia and New Zealand at the Melbourne Cricket Ground. This is the game New Zealand have to win if they're to retain the Trans-Tasman Trophy. Well, so far there have been 2 innings completed. First of all, New Zealand put into bat by Alan Border made 317, with the Stars, Wright 99 and Martin Crowe 82, and most of the wickets taken by Australia's pacemen, McDermott and Whitney. Then Australia replied through some magnificent fight-back cricket yesterday from the tail-enders and the middle-order players with 357. Peter Sleep, a wonderful 90, Steve Waugh 55, Tony Dodemaide in his first test 50, and Richard Hadlee 5 for 109. It's my belief New Zealand need to make around about 280 today. The Australians have a 40-run lead. That would mean Australia tomorrow would have the challenge of looking at something like 240. Well, there are no runs overnight. We pick it up now on the 6th over with 9 runs on the board. Here's Craig McDermott coming into bowl to John Wright, the left-hander. Your commentators Tony Greig and Rodney Marsh.
One's been hit away well down to third man, and that will just carry.
Craig McDermott looking long and hard. And a few words to say about something out there.
Just seeing that ball cut away looked to me as if it actually hit the fieldsman. and then jagged away on the full.
Well, that's one we nearly didn't pick up.
Dodemaide is bowling to Horn.
Boundary will make Philip Horn feel a little bit better. Alan Border has decided to put some pressure on him by bringing in a silly mid-off. Dean Jones has come into that position. And maybe that caused Philip Horn to slash away outside the off stump, perhaps feeling that he might be able to shift silly mid-off with a couple of hefty blows in his direction.
This is their best start of the series in top order. Craig McDermott continues. Away it goes. It's good value. John Wright whips it away for 4. No wicket for 54, and that's a good start. Alan Border started to make a change. He's aware that the New Zealanders are away. Bringing on top scorer Peter Sleep. Wright does that, and he does it beautifully. Over, almost long on. It's beautifully played. It was coming in. He went back and he went whack, hit it right up the middle of the bat.
In his mind, Johnny Wright would know that he plays the waiting game. Sooner or later, he's going to get one short enough. He can tug away with the spin. This is exactly what he does.
It's gone again. That's beautifully played, John Wright. That's the way a left-hander should play a leg spinner when it drops short. It gets great value. No wicket for 63.
23 overs completed so far. Still 25 minutes to go in this first session. 73 on the board. They're just over 3 and over, which is the run rate they require all day.
Well, that's high in the air. It should be out.
Oh, no!
Wow.
Batsman's had to go, but that was almost an absolute disaster. Boone was getting around under it. Dyer started, stopped, and then he really made for it. Boone, I suppose if you had a slimmer and slighter figure than Boone there would have been real problems.
Yes, I think I'd have been calling Boone out of the way. You can't let those ones get away from you as a wicketkeeper. Those little pop flies, you've got to go after them and get them, and Greg Dyer has decided he's going to, and I reckon David Boone's elbow has hit Greg Dyer just above or below the eye, and I wouldn't be at all surprised if he's bleeding. So at the moment, New Zealand lose their first wicket, score 73.
Andrew Jones is the new batsman.
This is how it all happened. Disaster for Phil Horn, but almost disaster for David Boone and Greg Dyer.
Peter Sleep continues.
Oh, well done. Bowling behind him, well, not exactly behind his pads, but had him coming across too far. Well bowled. Last couple of overs have been excellent from Peter Sleep. Broken through now, and John Wright just before lunch has gone, and that is a blow for New Zealand. And a very good performance from Peter Sleep.
Peter Sleep was probably a little bit concerned about bowling to John Wright. Taken full toll of him earlier on, and that ball just spun from outside off stump and a clipped leg stump. That's a good piece of bowling from Peter Sleep. So it's the end of John Wright. Australians very, very happy. He's out bowled Sleep for 43, and New Zealand 2 for 76.
Martin Crowe comes in now, and that's what happened to John Wright. Didn't seem to touch the pad or the trousers. It just clipped the outside of the stumps.
Still 3 slips in a gully for McDermott, bowling to Martin Crowe. That's beautifully glided down through the gap between third slip and the gully and just into the boundary.
Yeah, good shot, that one. That ball was short outside off stump, and Crowe was very quick to move onto his back foot.
Now it's going to be Michael Whitney.
That's a good shot. Ball wasn't all that short. Jones has hit it right off the middle of the bat. Very good shot.
Yes, it certainly was, and this is an example of the aggression that the New Zealanders have introduced to their play after lunch. There was no real need to go and try and pull this one away. He could quite easily have defended it. It didn't bounce very much. It wasn't that short, but he moved into line very quickly there, smashed it away to square leg. David Boone not able to catch it before it reached the boundary.
2 slips from Michael Whitney. Well, certainly cured that square cut because it's raced away. It's a mature shot. Waited for it and it's whacked it through the vacant gully position. Just the 2 slips. 4 all the way. Dean Jones continues. Well, that's not a good ball, but it's a great shot. Found the gap. There's 4 men on the offside, and he split the position just backward of point. It races away for 4.
Well, this sort of thing often happens with a part-time bowler. They can bowl well for 3 or 4 overs, then they bowl to a good player. He works a decent ball away for a couple of runs, and then you just seem to lose control, your concentration, you bowl a bad one, and the good players invariably hit them for 4.
That's good running. The last ball keeps the strike. Intelligent cricket. Brings up his 50. 2 for 1 for 8. New Zealand 2 for 155, and Wendy Wimbush advises that it's 25 balls since Andrew Jones scored a run. And that time Martin Crowe has faced 45 deliveries. Jones continues. Nicely placed. They look to run 4 here. It's a long throw. Jones is in trouble. He's gone. It'll be a mix-up. He's gone for sure. Oh, silly cricket. Jones was asleep. There was always 4 in that, and Andrew Jones not running hard. Got caught out. The throw was good. Relay throw in. The bars were off, and Jones has run out. Very foolish running, but a great breakthrough by the Australians.
What a mess-up. An absolute mess-up. A very good relayed throw from Peter Sleep. The ball was then got back in a flash to Dean Jones, who took them off. And Peter Sleep realises he's played on this ground a lot before, realises he's got to get a flat hard throw in there to the cut-off man, and out by a good metre almost. So that was an absolute tragedy. So New Zealand now 3 for 158.
The new batsman is Jeff Crowe, the New Zealand captain.
He's hit that one away down towards the boundary. McDermott won't cut it off. It's gone into the fence.
Boundary number 12 to Martin Crowe.
It's going to be Dodder made to take up the attack now. Oh, well caught. Beautifully caught by Alan Border. That's his 100th catch in Test match cricket. It was a good one too. That one went quite quickly off the outside edge. It went to Border's left, quite a long way to his left. And he latched onto it, no trouble at all. And what a big wicket that was. Martin Crowe out, caught by Border.
Well, Alan Border would have caught catches like this 1,000 times at practice before, off the face of the bat. Almost slips catching practice there as he laid open the blade. It run straight down. It was a bit of a climb for Border on his left, but a safe pair of hands. So Martin Crowe, disappointing for the New Zealanders, out for 79. They're now 4 for 178. Perhaps it's not the amount of movement, just a little bit there. Get one like that. That's the catch. What a great one by Border.
Deepak Patel is the new batsman.
He's lofted that one all right into about the 10th row in the members' stand. And the gentleman in the white cricketing hat wasn't quite able to reach up and catch it. Just went over his head.
Yes, well, he got to the pitch, didn't he? And he played it beautifully. That's a big hit at the Melbourne Cricket Ground. Straight hit. Beautifully timed and excellent footwork. It's a great shot.
And that went quickly and low to Alan Border.
That's what the leg spinner's aiming for. He's trying to get the batsman to cut, cramped him for a bit of room. Got a thick edge. Border got it. It was low down. Couldn't hang on to it. Sharp catch. Certainly catchable. Well, for Jeff Crow, I suppose it's the one break of the summer.
Got him, well caught. He's caught him. David Boone taking a very sharp chance there at mid-wicket. It was actually very well hit right off the meat of the bat there by Jeff Crow, and unluckily for him it went straight to Boone, who never made a mistake with that one.
Well, this is Peter Sleep's 5th over since the tea adjournment. And Jeff Crow hitting that one quite nicely, but David Boone pounced on that. Must have seen that very early off the bat. Took a very clean and good catch. So Peter Sleep's figures move up to 2 for 74. Jeff Crow goes for 25. New Zealand now 5 for 220.
Richard Hadley in his 73rd Test match, plenty of experience replacing Jeff Crow.
Well, when they're hit like that, they certainly stay hit. That's a massive hit. Deepak Patel hit one a few minutes earlier, but that was a big hit. So Peter Sleep enticing the batsman to go for shots, but the crowd here at the MCG really loving that. Straight, high, hard and beautiful. The umpires raise their arms to the heavens. That's 6 of the best.
Now then, Hadley has the spinner Peter Sleep. He also has 3 men in the outfield. LBW to Sleep's flipper. He's had 3 or 4 goes today trying to get that flipper through. He was perilously close to having Patel LBW with it early on, and on 3 or 4 occasions he's either got it through and hit the pads and not been given the benefit, or he's just failed to hit the pad. Now that, with Hadley coming forward, would have hit the stumps. Must have been no doubt in the umpire's mind. Certainly no doubt in Peter Sleep's, and Hadley LBW for 29. But John Bracewell has a batting average of over 20 in Test matches. He's a useful and good all-rounder and a real good fighter. You wouldn't read about it. 2 in 2 balls. Patel looked to me as though he got an under edge there. What really was a long hop from Tony Dodemaide. You can't have a medium pacer bowling a bouncer, but Patel may even have been a fraction quick with the stroke. It's in the middle of a very good spell from Dodemaide.
It's his 3rd wicket and 2 very timely wickets. One from Sleep last ball of the last over, and now that one. That's turned the game around after a fine partnership of 52 runs between Deepak Patel and Richard Hadley. Now we see them both back in the dressing room. Patel for 38. New Zealand 7 down now for 272. 40th test for Ian Smith, the New Zealand keeper. Tony Dodemaide wicket with the first ball of that over. And what a great debut.
Peter Sleep to continue with his leg spin.
Beautifully placed there by Ian Smith. He loves to cut. It's a contest between 2 cutters here, actually, because Peter Sleep, when he bats, loves to cut. Ian Smith doing exactly that to his bowling.
Dodemaide has been given the new ball. Well, that's a compliment to this young man. Bracewell on strike. Gone. Yes, he gets his 4th wicket. Well caught by Valletta at second slip. Got Bracewell coming forward, and Dodemaide having a wonderful test match. 50 runs with the bat and 4 wickets in the second innings. Beautifully bowled, a little bit of movement away, got him forward, and a good sharp catch.
It was a lovely piece of bowling, and certainly he's deserved the reward of the new ball, and it's paid off for him. Good line and an excellent catch there at second slip by Michael Valletta, who I think might have himself a spot there at second slip. He's very good in the slips. New Zealand 8 for 281.
Danny Morrison comes to the crease after Dodemaide picks up Bracewell. Fine piece of bowling with the second new ball and well caught.
Valletta really does have a spot for himself there at second slip.
Got him. 5 wickets for Tony Dodemaide. Didn't offer a shot. He yorked him, and what a great debut and what a fine performance. And his 28th over, he crashes through and hits the stumps. Morrison out, bowled without scoring, and Dodemaide gets his 5th wicket.
Terrific reaction there for Tony Dodemaide. Spread his pegs, and that's exactly what he's done. And a pair for Danny Morrison. That was a beautifully pitched Yorker, and really did show up how pointless Danny Morrison's style of batting was out there. So the 9th wicket goes down. New Zealand have 285 on the board.
Ewan Chatfield strides out for the final over for the 4th day's play. The bowler is Michael Whitney. Smith is on strike. Well, Ian Smith has got different ideas to us. He's playing out the final over. Maybe he wants to give his captain a choice in the morning.
I think his captain's only got one choice. I think New Zealand have played it brilliantly up until about the last 10 minutes. They've lost their way a bit, although with 2:45 I think we've still got a pretty reasonable game there, but another 15 would have been handy for them.
Indeed it would, and I just couldn't work out the tactics at the end there when those New Zealand batsmen were not pushing it along, so the closure could be made first thing in the morning. Their card looks impressive. They go all the way down there from Horn through Wright, down Jones, and Crowe's lovely innings of 79. Then Jeff Crowe, almost back to form, but not quite. And Patel, a very good stroke player's innings there for 38. And Hadley hit well for 29, 9 for 285. But I still think it would have been better had they been up to 300. And it looks to me as though they're thinking of batting on tomorrow morning. Now, the Australian bowling was dominated by Tony Dodemaide. A tremendous effort from him, 28 overs and 10 maidens, 5 for 57 to go with his half-century when Australia batted. Very fine effort. Peter Sleep, 3 for 107 in 26 overs and 5 maidens. McDermott is back in the hotel with flu, and Whitney bowled better than those figures, 20 overs, 5 maidens, none for 45. Jones, 8 overs for 23, and interestingly enough, Stephen Waugh wasn't used at all. I think we've got a great match coming up tomorrow. I suspect New Zealand will bat on because they're not quite sure how game they want to be, but if I were in their shoes, I'd certainly put the Australians in first thing. I think it's going to be a great contest. Good night. Welcome to the highlights of the final day's play of the last test match of the series of 3 games between Australia and New Zealand. The MCG, 5th day, with New Zealand 9 for 285 and Tony Dodemaide 5 for 57. Conditions were very good. Temperature promised around about the 30 mark, might even get a little hotter later in the day, and it could be difficult for the side in the field towards the end of what we hope will be a very exciting day. Well, New Zealand decided to bat on and to make things as difficult as possible for the Australians, but it didn't last very long. Chatfield made a single, and here now is Dodemaide coming into bowl to Ian Smith. Well, there's no need for Bill Lawrie, as it turns out, and Tony Dodemaide gets his 6. But what a great effort. They tell me he's a very modest young man. We know from looking at him that he's a good young cricketer and very enthusiastic. And quite rightly, his teammates are around congratulating him. Skipper Alan Border And Border, when McDermott went down yesterday with influenza, must have wondered quite what would happen. Well, Tony Dodemaide and the rest of the team have done the right thing by their skipper. 6 wickets for Dodemaide. Well, that didn't take very long with Ian Smith, the man out, and Tony Dodemaide taking his 6th wicket. Terrific debut for him. He's played very well and with a great deal of common sense. The final cards, New Zealand, they finished up with 286. Smith out for 12. Chatfield not out 1. 11 extras, 286 the total. And the only change to the Australian bowling figures this morning, Tony Dodemaide finished up with 28.3 overs, 10 maidens, 6 for 58. He was clapped off the ground by his teammates and given a standing ovation by this very good crowd here on the last day. What a marvellous thing for him in his first Test match. We pick up play now in the Australian innings. They need 247 to win. In the third over, Richard Hadley is the man coming in. There are 7 runs on the board, and David Boon is taking strike.
Boon gets him away. He's playing his shots this morning. Top edge, flies away. That's the ball he tries to get him to drag it back onto the stump, but not this morning. Boon playing it beautifully. Through with the shot and away it went. Pitch short. Went for it. Way over the top of slips. Great camera work. Hitting the top edge and racing away. Philip Horn now substituting for Smith, who was injured batting in the nets this morning. That's a problem for New Zealand. Final day of a Test match. Danny Morrison take the new ball from the southern end.
Boon is certainly on the attack. That ball didn't bounce too high, but he hit it right in the middle of the bat.
I saw Andrew Jones play a similar type shot off Michael Whitney yesterday, and that was a great shot.
In the air and through the slip cordon there. That was a dropped catch. Bracewell, the man at third slip. Very definitely a shot. Sharp chance. No, it's not. It's Crow there at third slip. He's put it down. Have a look at it.
Certainly, it could have been made into a catch.
Morrison bowling really well. He's in the air and he's dropped it. Well, Morrison cannot believe it. He really has bowled well in the spell. Up go his hands through his hair. And that is a frustrated fast bowler for you.
Look at this. No chance for the keeper. It's got to be first slip, but they wouldn't come much more regulation than that one. That is doubt. Can't believe it. Danny Morrison. Well, New Zealand don't have any chance at all. They've got to grab the catches. Martin Crowe at third slip dropped one just a little while back. Down that one goes. Well, what a disappointing start.
No wicket for 35. Marsh on 18, Boon on 17. The Australian Opens neck and neck there. However, they've had a few breaks. A couple of catches have gone down already.
Danny Morrison continues from the members' end.
It's nicely played. He won't get that one. It's running down towards the long off boundary. Wright decided that he won't make it, and it's gone into the fence for 4. Very good shot, that.
Case of third time lucky for David Boon. Majestic stuff, it certainly was. First 2 couldn't get past John Wright, and this one, there's no doubt about it. Beautifully balanced, a lot of power in that shot, the stocky Tasmanian. He's thrust that one down the ground. Beautiful off drive.
Hadley to continue. Gone! Last day breakthrough, and it's Hadley. This time the catch is taken. They worked around and marched it off stump. He's never looked comfortable this summer to Hadley in that region. Not playing with the full face of the bat. It flies to second slip, and at last New Zealand breakthrough as Bracewell takes the catch.
Third time lucky for the New Zealanders. Tried third slip. He didn't catch it. Slip didn't catch it. And graceful in the field for his catching, obviously, not for his bowling at this stage. Takes a very good catch at second slip. Geoff Marsh out for 23. Australia lose their first wicket, total being 45.
Dean Jones strides the wicket at 8 minutes to the luncheon break to face his bogey man, Richard Hadley. Picked him up for 2, 0 and 4 in the first innings of this series. And Jones would be very nervous.
That's great delivery.
And in the meantime, the Australians need just under 100 runs a session. 2 sessions remaining, and Hadley really with his back up. A magnificent delivery. Certainly no love lost between Dean Jones and Richard Hadley.
Beats the third slip fieldsman. Martin Crowe is the man in that position. And boundary for Dean Jones.
Not exactly a top shot. There's an element of risk there. 4 runs going to Dean Jones, but deviation off the wicket seemed just angled towards the slips. It's a thick edge. It's a little unsettling period for Dean Jones back after lunch.
Ewan Chatfield has 2 slips in a gully. Shouts for catch and LBW. I'm not sure which one has been granted, but Ewan Chatfield has got his first wicket in the series. Dean Jones has been given out by umpire French. I would hazard a guess that it was for the catch. Nothing has been indicated yet on the scoreboard, but I would assume at this stage it was for the catch.
It would look that way. The fieldsman silly him off. Martin Crowe held the ball high in the air aloft, so he had a symphony behind him.
Now it has been registered on the scoreboard as caught. Now it's interesting that his bat hits the pad. Watch the left pad. Bang. See how hard the bat hits the pad? Now that makes a lot of noise. That would make it very, very difficult for the umpire. The noise would be at the same time as the ball is arriving there. An extremely difficult decision, that one.
And Dean Jones departs in a sorry state for just 8 runs against his name. Australia 2 for 59.
Alan Border playing in his 92nd Test match. There's 7,162 runs to his name. He'd like probably 100 more. Nicely placed. It'll reach the boundary. Nice little counter-attack here from Alan Border.
The Australians have turned up the smell of victory. Love to see Australia win this Test match. Man will have a big impact is the captain, Alan Border. Beautifully struck.
Well, that's the story. 152 runs now needed for an Australian victory. They have 2 for 95. So 152 more to win. Boone just short of a half century. Border beginning to settle in. Always pulled that one away. He really is looking confident. That'll bring up his half century. It's rolling down towards the mid-wicket boundary, and this is a very confident David Boone. He may well have been dropped, but the truth of the matter is he's come out here, played positive cricket, and that was an example of it. That 4 taking him to 50, and what a useful 50 for Australia.
Fast bowler coming back after a spell quite often drops the ball in short, and Boone was waiting for it. He's quickly onto the back foot and crunched it through mid-wicket. A glorious pull shot.
So there it is, undefeated on 50 off 117 balls and 180 minutes. He's cut that one. There's no one at third man. This will go down to the boundary as well. So that's Boone's 7th boundary. Anything short he loves, and that brings up the 100 for Australia.
Well, that's not good bowling by Morrison. They've kept the ball up, particularly Chatfield, to David Boone. And Morrison comes on and drops one in short, and he pays the penalty.
In the air, he's gone. He's hit it straight down extra cover's throat. Well, what a wicket that is for the New Zealanders. They were getting desperate out there. Boone was right on top. He momentarily lost concentration there. Having hit two magnificent boundaries, he then went for the drive. He was there just a little bit too late, and he scooped it up on the offside. It really was a dolly.
Yes, a rush of blood. Two glorious shots. First the pull shot and then the cut. He was after Danny Morrison, and Morrison kept the ball up. That was a position where he had him dropped at first slip. He went for the drive this time, hit it straight to cover. It's close to the stumps. It's there. He's driving on the up, not to the pitch, open to face. Straight to cover. A straightforward catch, but that's the wicket New Zealand needed. Australia now 3 for 103. 2 fours and a wicket off a very exciting over.
Well, this is going to be a nice little tester for Michael Valletta in his third test match. Out there now to face the music with Alan Border. Oh, he's bowled him. No, he hasn't. Oh, I can't believe it. I'm worse than Morrison. From this angle, it looked as if it had gone straight through and hit the stumps.
A bit of luck for the Australian captain there. It was beautiful delivery. Just got down on it, hit the pad over the top of the middle stump. Border 39, faces Bracewell. Yep. It's well played. Just enough room. Going to be another 4. Chatfield gives up the chase. Beautifully placed.
And straight out of the Alan Border scrapbook, that one, a punishing shot. Very good square of the wicket. Seen 1 or 2 shots like that from Border today. So there it is, his 1,000 runs in Test cricket versus New Zealand.
Yes, he's batted 22 times, and this is against all comers, Alan Border. Border on 43, the bowler is Hadley. Sequest, he's got him, yes, that's the one they wanted. Umpire Crafter had a good look. The great Hadley moving the ball back in. The previous delivery moved back in for the off to leg, and he did it once again. The big shout was there. Border was off for the leg by, but what a wicket, what a time to get it, what a test match.
It's all happening here at the MCG, Bill, certainly. With Alan Border going, again Hadley gets the umpire's decision, LBW. Because of bowling stump to stump, there's no doubt about that. Half forward, the Australian captain, he believes the run's on, but umpire Crafter signals out. Border, LBW to Hadley, 43, and the Kiwi quick edges closer to Botham's record. Australia 4 for 147, and is it the turning point in the match? Feel for a moment for Steve Waugh in his 16th test match. Scored 55 in the first innings, but that's way in the past.
Hadley. Shot, great shot.
Well, what a fine shot. We've come to expect that sort of shot from Steve Waugh. Very elegant, effortless striker of the ball.
Whoops, there's 2 men there in catching position, a gully and a point, but he beats both of them. A good over for Australia. 9 runs off the over, 4 for 159.
A fair amount of tension at this ground at the moment.
It's gone. Chatfield's got him. A good ball. It cut back and lifted at Steve Waugh, and I think got him on the glove. Caught by Deepak Patel at short leg. And now, this game has been alive all day, but I can tell you there is some tremendous pressure on out there.
This delivery from Chatfield hopping and perhaps just stopping a little bit. And Stephen Waugh not able to get over the top of that. Ball just lobbing quite gently in the end. Almost off the splice into the hands of Deepak Patel at that short leg position. So with 70 one more required to win by Australia. And Stephen Waugh out for 10. This is going to be one heck of a finish.
Peter Sleep top scored in the first innings. A very good 90. But this is going to be a stern test of temperament and nerves. There's a shout there of catch it, but it was a long way even from Ian Smith's good hand, let alone the one with the broken finger.
It's a very fine leg glance. And Ian Smith not getting anywhere near that one. Always 4 runs if you hit him that fine on the MCG.
Peter Sleep is on 7. Michael Valletta on strike on 27. That's a pretty reasonable shout. I don't think he's got any intention of playing a shot there. And I think that John Bracewell was quite right to ask on the basis that there was no shot played.
Yes, make up your own mind. The bat coming inside the pad. There can be no doubt about that.
Beautiful shot. It's a nice reply.
Yes, that's a magnificent cover drive from Mike Valletta. After that big shot for LBW, he decided certainly to put bat to this one. And have a look at that, right out of his ground, making it into a half volley and then hitting into the gap on the offside.
Uses his feet beautifully. Played very well in the first innings, Valletta, and he's doing it here again.
Yes, this is a great shot. He's decided that he's going to go down the wicket to him, and he wasn't quite there, so decided to hit it over the top of mid-off. And once again, lovely timing as he goes down to this one. Up it goes, way over the top of the fieldsman down there, and bounces a few times down into the fence. Crowe looking up towards the scoreboard there, which will register that after this over there'll be 20 more to be bowled. This is over number 72.
Shouts of catch it, but you need a 25-foot tall man to catch it at first slip. That one really bounced.
Well, a little bit of banter there between those two. He certainly gets things happening, Richard Hadlee. This was a magnificent delivery, hitting the shoulder, I think, of the bat, and then flying away high over the top of first slip. Let's have a look at that go, way over the top, and there's no way they're going to stop that one. 38 runs to win now. 18.3 overs. 5 wickets in hand, so they need to score it just over 2 and over. Look as if they've got it under control.
That's very, very close, yes. Peter Sleep really didn't even bother to hang around and have a look at the umpire. He knew the ball stayed down. It was right on line. So right to the very end, Hadlee is in there, banging away for New Zealand.
Yes, that's beautiful bowling, and no doubt about that. I think Peter Sleep would have got that dreadful feeling as it thundered into his pad. Hadley's right close next to the stumps. It did nip back a little bit, but probably would have taken the leg stump. So umpire Kraft lifts his finger. Hadlee is pretty happy, and the fortunes of New Zealand hang in there just a little bit longer. Sleep out for 20, involved in a good quick-fire partnership with Valletta. Australia now 6 for 209.
Gregory Dyer comes in his 4th Test match with a handy little innings of 21 in the first innings.
The 10th time Bracewell has bowled 18 overs, no wicket for 52.
It's been caught at point, and he's been given out. So it must have been an edge onto the head. Michael Valletta is shaking his head as he walks off, not because he's querying the decision. In fact, he's got his hat off now. But the top edge went into his head, and bounced away to point, and Deepak Patel has taken a very good catch, and that really has made a game of it now.
Yes, there's no doubt that he hit this. There was a big noise as he went for the sweep. Have a look at that. Off the bat, onto the head, and way up in the air. Watch Deepak Patel diving forward there. That's a really good catch. See if you can pick up the deflection of the ball on the bat onto the head. He's a bit lucky here. Have a look at this. There it goes. Bang, on the temple, straight up in the air. And that's a very fine catch.
For 209.
"17 overs to be bowled. Dyer and Dodemaide yet to score. And the world's greatest medium-fast bowler, 3 scalps, Richard Hadley from the outer or southern end. 3 slips of gully and a short leg. Hook shot, it's up in the air, could be gone, he's gone! No, well, Dyer's going for the throat. Look at Hadley, cop on a Hadley. There appeared to be some glove there, Dyer saying it's chest. They all went up. The crowd roars.
Well, the umpire's the man in the hot seat. Hadley disappointed. Dyer hurt. Well, what may have been Danny Morrison trying to console the fast bowler. But, well, he's very quick to show it was off the rib cage. He walked away, and I wouldn't have walked away that smartly. I'd have waited, I think, to have a little bit of a look. Let's watch it again.
Well, let's watch closely. Oh, dear. It's either hit the glove or the forearm and then onto the chest. Umpire maybe ruling it didn't touch the glove. Hadley's got no doubt whatsoever.
Well, that run rate starting to build up a bit now. The Australians are fair dinkum about winning it as against saving it. And now they get on with it a little bit, because in 4 or 5 overs time, with a new ball available, sure, runs may come at a rapid rate, but also a couple of wickets could happen.
Gone! He's gone! He's got behind! The great Hadley gets the edge. And have we got a test match? What a beautiful piece of bowling. The little leg cutter, a bit of movement away. Dyer gone, caught behind for 4. And what a bowler.
What a bowler. The ability to come back late on the 5th day in a test match and turn the game around. He did it with Border after tea. The 55th over, a long way back. He was out for 43. Then LBW, he trapped sleep. And a little edge there going straight to the wounded Smith. He took the catch to dismiss the keeper. Dyer is off for 4. And Australia now in a bit of trouble, a lot of trouble. 8 for 216.
Craig McDermott played so well in the first innings. Not a defensive player, a good hitter of the ball, Craig McDermott.
Beautiful play there by Craig McDermott. New ball really flying off the bat.
You couldn't really say that McDermott made a stroke at this, hardly. He just put the bat on the ball and guided it. It hit the middle of the bat. And that new ball just zooming off the bat. Beautiful timing.
With New Zealand needing 2 wickets for victory, Australia want 20 runs. There are 5 overs remaining. Oh, that's very, very close. Yes, too close for comfort if you're an Australian. And Tony Dodemaide is on the way. And just for a change, Richard Hadley has taken 5 wickets in an innings. That's 32 times in Test cricket, and he's 13th against Australia.
What a great performance by Hadley. And the Kiwi section of the crowd there, really enjoying that. And that's pretty close. The other thing about Left wicket, Tony Dodder made. LBW to Richard Hadlee. It takes him up level with Ian Botham's world record of 373 Test wickets. So New Zealand only needing just the 1 wicket to win now. Australia still needing 20 runs with the score at 9 for 227.
Richard Hadlee, 373 wickets. He's now equal with Ian Botham as the leading wicket taker in Test cricket of all time. Started out the series level with Dennis Lillee, and he's now caught Ian Botham, and he's probably not going to get many better opportunities than this. He's bowled 28.1 overs. He's got 5 balls at Michael Whitney. Everyone else in this Australian side bats pretty well, except Michael Whitney. Oh, and that's pretty close. It's worth a shout. Might have been a bit high.
Well, he's got another opportunity, and that certainly was worth the shout, but just going over the top. And in that situation, you can't blame Hadlee for appealing.
Good bouncer. It hasn't got up, but it's too high. It got up enough for Craig McDermott's purposes. A bit high for the young New Zealander, Danny Morrison.
That ball jagged back from outside off stump, hitting McDermott on the thigh pad. Now, if it misses McDermott's leg guard and hits him on the thigh pad, if his leg is straight, you can almost bet that that is going over the top of the stumps. I think that's, his pad is about the same height as the stumps.
Whitney is off the mark, but it's probably rather superfluous. Still, every run counts, and I guess Michael Whitney is going to be reasonably pleased with that one. 2 balls remaining in this over. Can Craig McDermott get a single and keep the strike? Good bouncer.
And useful delivery. Pretty well played by the big fella McDermott as well. His eye on that a long time. Then got the head out of the way, hoping that it was going over.
Whitney now has to face Danny Morrison. 2 overs remaining. Twelve legal deliveries Australia need to keep out to win the Trans-Tasman Trophy. They only need a draw in this Test match. They win the series 1-0. To hang on to the trophy, New Zealand have to take that wicket and level the series at 1-1. They are the current holders of the trophy. They would retain it if they can win this match, and that's the only way they will retain the trophy. 6 legal deliveries from Danny Morrison, 6 from Richard Hadlee, if Australia are to grab the trophy. Oh, that's pretty close. Was that off the pad? And for some strange reason, Craig McDermott has decided not to run. Can't work out for the life of me why, and I think he realizes now what a mistake he's made.
I suppose we can have some pity, empathy, whatever you like, with Craig McDermott, because he has been ill. He's probably not thinking too clearly. He's probably just thinking about staying down that end for Richard Hadlee, but 5 more deliveries, I think he realises he has made it blue.
That's a catch it, and Craig McDermott says, get going now. New Zealand trying to bluff them with an overthrow, but and in fact it hasn't solved the problem, because umpire Dick French has said it's a dead ball.
Well, we can have a little bit more drama in this game, can't we?
The interesting thing is that Craig McDermott didn't know about it. He was heading back to the crease to face up, and in fact Michael Whitney had to tell him, sorry pal, you're back down the non-striker's end. Now they'll get their single.
I'm not sure whether they shouldn't have come back for the 2 then. McDermott's got to get a single or a 3 or a 5 off one of the last 3 balls of Danny Morrison's over to get the strike for the last over, which Richard Hadley no doubt will be bowling. Boy, there's been a heap of drama in this game, and it continues. Where are those fingernails?
Still 9 illegal deliveries to come.
That's the last thing you want as a batsman in that situation. The ball was well wide of off stump. You breathe a sigh of relief as the umpire calls no ball. You know you're not going to get out on that one because you've already made up your mind to leave it. And the umpire, damn him, calls no ball.
Oh, great Yorker. Michael Whitney was heading off for the single on that occasion. McDermott says no. Excellent Yorker.
It's not as if the New Zealanders haven't looked like getting out this last pair. It looked like it on several occasions. And this young man, Danny Morrison, has done a fabulous job. He's bowled very well all series. He's only got 2 more legal deliveries to bowl in the series. Takes a huge breath and prepares himself.
Oh, and he's gone right through him. Hit him on the pad. And umpire French says no. Danny Morrison couldn't believe it. He thought that that was the one. It did swing back a little. It may have just been going down leg side.
Yes, it may have. But I think the New Zealanders could regard themselves as reasonably unfortunate there. It's jagged back, and I suppose one thing that umpire French thought, it could have been cutting too much.
So there are 6 legal deliveries to come. Danny Morrison really has put in a tremendous effort. Gets a pat on the back from John Wright. And a word of consolation there from the keeper, Ian Smith. And Michael Whitney has to face up to Richard Hadley. They've survived 24 balls, this pair. Can they survive 30? Michael Whitney just asking the fieldsman to keep the shadow off the pitch there. Deepak Patel is the man on the offside. Five to go. 25 down, 5 to go. I don't think they'll get the 17 runs. That's closer.
Come on, Whit, he's saying to himself, only 4 to go. Hang in there.
Who said that draws aren't exciting? Some of them are extremely exciting.
Now, this one's not a draw yet. 3 to go. And I guess you wouldn't pick too many other people in the world to be bowling these last 3 balls for your country if you had the choice. Richard Hadlee. 10 wickets already in this match.
That was right on line. That was a pretty good job from Michael Whitney to keep that one out. It was right in the block hole. It was right on line. 2 to go for Michael Whitney. Jeff Crow makes an adjustment to the field. 2 adjustments, in fact. Ewan Chatfield comes into leg gully. Wouldn't be well versed in the fielding of the leg gully position. And Danny Morrison comes in to silly mid off. .29 balls. Michael Whitney and Craig McDermott have survived as a partnership. Can they make it 30? 1 to come from Richard Hadlee. He's talking to himself. You can bet your life that Michael Whitney's talking to himself. Good luck, Whit. Michael Whitney is pretty pleased with himself, and well he might be. And what a great sight that is. And I would think that Alan Border is probably not far away, having experienced his first win in a series as a skipper. I reckon he'll be at the top of the stairs to meet those 2 guys.
And a great reward for Alan Border. He's worked very hard with this team. Down he comes now. I think the old fingernails of Alan Border's wouldn't be in that great a shape at the moment. He's a bit of a chewer of the nails, and he's very delighted. Shakes hands with his opposing captain, Jeff Crow, and says, well, Richard, you've bowled very well again. And how well did he bowl? 10 wickets. A great game of cricket, and Ian, you are right. Who said draws can't be exciting?
First time that Australia have grabbed the Trans-Tasman Trophy. It only came into being in 1985-86. Australia lost it 2-1 in that series. Then New Zealand won at home. And now the Australians have grabbed it back. 1-0 in a 3-test series. Australia won at the Gabba. And a draw in the Adelaide Test. And what a cricket match we've had here at the MCG. A draw, but it was one hell of a cricket match.
That's one of the greatest games of cricket I've gone through. A thrilling final day, absolutely magnificent finish, and tremendous cricket from both sides, not just from the side who managed to get the draw and go to the winning point in the Trans-Tasman series. Alan Border, his first Test series win, he'll be absolutely delighted by that, even though today was a draw. And the scorecards of this match will be in the history of cricket. 9 for 230 Australia. They avoided defeat by just the 1 wicket, with Craig McDermott and Michael Whitney, the not-out batsman, surviving there for a long, long time against Danny Morrison and Richard Hadlee, one of the greatest bowlers the world has seen. The Australian card, Boone played well for 54, Border for 43, and Valletta a very good innings for 39. But the bowling figures for New Zealand tell the tale. They had to win the match, and they almost did it. A terrific effort from Richard Hadlee. He bowled 31 overs, 9 maidens, and took 5 for 67 to go to 373 wickets and join Ian Botham as the greatest wicket taker in the history of the game. 32 times, 5 wickets in an innings, and 13 times against Australia. Those will be great scorecards in the history of cricket. This was a great match. We say goodnight to you now, and we look forward to having you with us when the one-day games start in Perth on January 2. That'll be Australia and Sri Lanka. From the MCG, it's goodnight.
This has been another presentation of Nine's Wide World of Sports, your Winter Olympics Network.